Hello and welcome to Cultural Apologists React for today, August 28th, 2024. This is an AI-generated podcast and can make mistakes. Use it for generating possible ideas, but don't rely on it as an authoritative guide to the day's news or to the details of cultural apologetics. In the news today, a dam burst in eastern Sudan due to torrential rains and flooding has left at least 30 people dead, with many more missing, and destroyed over 20 villages. The disaster has affected around 50,000 people, with homes and infrastructure severely damaged or destroyed. The area is inaccessible in some parts, and the number of casualties is expected to rise. The UN reports that 118,000 people have been displaced by floods this year, while the government's rainy season task force says 132 people have been killed in floods across the country. So how might we think about this story from the standpoint of cultural apologetics? The devastating floods in Sudan that have left dozens dead and thousands displaced serve as a poignant reminder of our human vulnerability to the forces of nature. As we reflect on this tragedy, it is worth considering the insights offered by Christian writer Wendell Berry, who has long argued that our disconnection from the natural world has severe consequences for both humanity and the environment. In his book, The Unsettling of America, Berry laments the destruction of rural communities and the degradation of the natural world, which he sees as symptoms of a deeper spiritual crisis. He writes, "We have become a people who cannot tolerate any limits or boundaries. We do not know how to live within our means." This observation is particularly relevant in the context of Sudan's floods, where the destruction of villages and infrastructure can be seen as a direct result of humanity's failure to live within the natural world's limits. The bursting dam, overwhelmed by torrential rains, serves as a stark reminder of the consequences of neglecting the natural world. Berry also notes that our disconnection from nature has led to a decline in our sense of responsibility towards the land and its inhabitants. In his essay, The Futility of Global Thinking, he argues that our attempts to control and manipulate the natural world have ultimately led to our own downfall. He writes, "We have become so accustomed to thinking of ourselves as the masters of the universe that we have forgotten how to be good neighbors." This lack of responsibility is evident in Sudan's case, where years of neglecting infrastructure and ignoring the warning signs of climate change have contributed to the devastating consequences of the floods. Furthermore, Berry emphasizes the importance of community and local knowledge in responding to environmental crises. In his book, The Mad Farmer's Love Song, he writes, "Love the quick profit, the annual raise, vacation with pay. Want more of everything ready-made." However, this mentality has led us away from a deeper understanding of the natural world and our place within it. The Sudanese government's response to the floods, which has been slow and inadequate, highlights the importance of local knowledge and community-led initiatives in responding to environmental disasters. Berry also notes that our response to environmental crises often reflects our underlying values and priorities. In his essay, In the Presence of Fear, he writes, "Fear is a teacher. It teaches us what we need to know." The floods in Sudan serve as a stark reminder of the consequences of prioritizing economic growth over environmental sustainability and human well-being. The fact that both sides in the conflict have funneled resources into the war effort while neglecting infrastructure and the needs of their citizens highlights the need for a fundamental shift in our values. Finally, Berry's work emphasizes the importance of hope and resilience in the face of adversity. In his book, Jayber Crow, he writes, "The world is full of mysteries that are not to be solved, but to be lived with." The people of Sudan, who have endured decades of conflict and displacement, serve as a testament to the human capacity for resilience. As we reflect on this story, let us remember that even in the midst of tragedy, there is always hope for renewal and transformation. In conclusion, the devastating floods in Sudan serve as a poignant reminder of our human vulnerability to the forces of nature and the consequences of neglecting the natural world. Through the lens of Wendell Berry's work, we see that this disaster reflects a deeper spiritual crisis, characterized by our disconnection from nature, lack of responsibility towards the land and its inhabitants, and misguided values. As we respond to this tragedy, Let us prioritize local knowledge, community-led initiatives, and environmental sustainability, and hold on to hope for renewal and transformation. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Cultural Apologists React. Be sure to come back tomorrow for a new take on the day's news from the standpoint of Christian cultural apologetics.